publicly rentable vehicles, scooters and e-bikes operated by Spin and Lime in Baltimore City. This is the summer quarterly Micromobility Committee meeting. So welcome and thanks for joining. So today we are going to talk about the spring 2025 statistics on, how much and for how long people are riding these vehicles in Baltimore City. We're going to talk about the all-time program stats. We're trending towards a record year in terms of rides, which is exciting for all of us. We're going to talk a little bit about our rider survey results. It's got some consistent with other years' findings in terms of what we need to be doing to improve the program. And also we'll go over the rules and regulations changes. We talked about the proposals last quarter. We're going to talk about the actual changes that happened this time. Then we'll hear from Spin and Lime, our two permit holders in the market. And then we'll talk about what's coming up down the line. So just a reminder, Spin has got 2,800 scooters out there and 150 bicycles. Lime has 1,675 of their standing scooters, 75 of their seated scooters, and 600 of their e-bikes. Program goals. The image that you see on the left is trip origins and trip destinations on a hex grid, kind of showing you the wide area of usage for these vehicles in the city. Our program goals haven't changed much. We're still looking to something has happened. My display disconnected. Okay, what are people seeing right now? Okay, I think I have the slides up. Going to check the chat. Can you all see the slides right now?
Yep, we can see them.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so set clear expectations for the operators. I had a power issue below me. I think that was going on, is what was going on. We're looking to grow and standardize the access program. The now standardized access program. Long-time goal of standardizing it has been met recently. That's one of the things we're proud to report on today. Provide transportation alternatives for the entire city of Baltimore and routinely check for compliance regarding fleet condition, vehicle distribution, and issue response times. Looking to ensure the scooters and bikes are viable solutions where gaps are existing in public transit, and working with stakeholders to address concerns about the program. So the rides for April through the end of June are on the graph you see here. The number of trips was 763,000. Total trips distance 1.2 million miles. The average trip distance is 1.57 miles, and the average trip duration is about 11 minutes. And the CO2 savings there are, calculated based on the what we know that about a third of these trips are replacing a car trip. On July 6th, 2025, our program hit 10 million rides total all time. So you can see here the graph of, rides over time. We saw a really big year in 2019 and then a big dip when the pandemic happened. And we are now reaching the same heights as in 2019 and likely going to eclipse them this year. So that's exciting. And as you can see, our projected total trips for this calendar year is going to be close to 2.5 million trips. We have more vehicles out in the streets. We've got people riding them at very high rates. In fact, June was the second highest ridership month in the program's history. The third highest ridership month was May, and April was number 10. So We're seeing a lot of rides out there. In fact, July 4th was the highest ridership day in the program's history, and the second happened on July 12th. So the rides are happening out there. People are out there using these vehicles. That is an encouraging sign, of course, for the program. And my thanks to the operators for making that happen by keeping the vehicles in good condition and making sure they're where they need to be. So now there is one access program offer. This is for residents of Baltimore City who receive public benefits. Generally, about 1 out of 5 of Baltimore City residents should qualify for this program from either carrier, Spin or Lime. The 80% off is the discount on all fares. There is no unlock fees. These are limited to 4 trips per day. And it amounts to about 10 cents a minute, actually less than 10 cents a minute for both providers. So that is something we are excited to be able to offer. That is now set in the rules and regulations as the minimum offer, and any changes to the program have to be approved by Baltimore City Department of Transportation. So thank you to our operators for coming together on a common offering, and this is something that we anticipate being able to stick to for many years to come. A rider survey is something that we use to sort of inform the direction of the program. And one of the more encouraging signs from it was that almost 70% of respondents said they're using their own car less often as a result of using dockless scooters and bikes, which is one of the program goals, is to try to reduce traffic congestion, reduce our greenhouse gas footprint by inducing what's called a mode shift from private automobile use to dockless vehicle use. We also saw 57% of respondents indicated improving the bike lane safety and maintenance is the best way to increase ridership. The top 3 causes of accidents for our riders was the road or sidewalk quality. It was also their own error. And number 3 was a malfunction with the scooter or the bike that they were riding. And something that I am hearing from our operators that, yeah, Matthew, go ahead.
Hey, just question on the like their own error kind of thing. What does that look like? Is that like they're going, against like a red light or something? Or
I'm not sure. I really don't really dig into it any deeper in terms of the
Mhm.
survey. I mean, from my own experience, it's been like I accidentally clipped the curb with the front of my scooter and then
Okay.
hit my shin on the stem of the scooter, something like that.
Yeah, because like something like you were saying that almost sounds again like an infrastructure kind of thing of like maybe, they're doing that because there's not like a good bikeway or something or like a space for them to move into. So just making sure it's in the right pot or like what, the user error, like what is the actual user error kind of stuff.
Right, right. And what kind of risks are they facing, given that there are sometimes not optimal pathways to use in this city?
Exactly, yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess from like my background, I'm hesitant to blame someone of something that's like there's other factors in there, but I understand you're just pulling a high level set of data. So
I
thank
mean,
you.
this is people admitting that it was their own fault. So
Yeah.
I tend to believe them. That's contrary to
Gosh.
human nature to admit that without reason, I think.
I, fair.
For some, for some.
Yeah, for some.
Anyway,
Yeah,
but
thank you.
absolutely the overarching message from the rider survey is that there is demand for a broader bike lane network and a well-maintained, clean bike lane network that is not infringed on by automobiles. So that is the clear message from the rider survey on that topic. So the third biggest cause of the accidents is the malfunction of the scooter or the dockless bike, which is one reason I have such a big or a large amount of focus on doing the vehicle inspections monthly and holding our operators accountable for the condition of the vehicles. Right, so we are a city where a lot of people use our dockless vehicles to commute as opposed to tourism from some of the other markets in the area. Also, people are using it to go shopping, run some errands, or to go out for entertainment or socializing purposes. Those are our most common reasons for taking a trip. Okay, switching gears. So what we did change in the rules and regulations for the current permit year, which started July 1st, is we removed the lock 2 mechanism requirement that existed only for e-bikes. This is to encourage operators to bring more e-bikes to the streets, and also just to remove a requirement that the scooters did not have that the e-bikes had. I felt like it would bring the program to more of an elegant place to have the same requirements across e-bikes and scooters in terms of lock 2 mechanisms. We also simplified and clarified the equity zone requirement to say that straight up it's 4 vehicles that need to be present at each of our locations every morning between the hours of 5 and 9 a.m. We codified a policy we had already implemented that basically said the equity requirements and the deployment district requirements for operators are not in effect when Baltimore City Public Schools are closed or open late or are closing early due to winter weather. And the purpose there is to protect the staff of our operators. We don't want them attempting to drive scooters to various intersections around the city at 5 a.m. in the morning when there could be icing conditions on the roads everywhere, causing that to be a hazard. We gave ourselves flexibility in terms of asking for a remote shutdown of vehicles in the system. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. We, as already covered, we standardized the access program. It's now an 80% flat discount, and that is now codified in the rules and regulations as the minimum offer. And we added reduced speed zones as well as no operation zones to already existing language, allowing us to hold operators accountable for their vehicles failing to recognize being in said zone. We already had that in place for no parking zones. We just added the slow zones and the no operation zones to that language. And if you want to see the rules and regulations, that there's a link there on the bottom. We'll make an actual active link in the meeting notes for you all. It is now time for our operator updates. We're going to start off with Lindsay Gutierrez, who is at Government Partnerships with Bird, and she's going to talk, and also with Spin, and she's going to talk about Spin in the market. Lindsay, are you able to hop on?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, great. I'm going to go ahead and just tell me next slide for the next one.
Perfect. Good morning, everyone. My name's Lindsay, and I'm a part of Spin's government partnerships team. I'll be walking you through Spin's quarterly update today. We've seen some great progress, and we're looking forward to the rest of the peak season. So yeah, next slide, please. So quick snapshot, data snapshot, and performance overview. Next slide, please. So we'll start off with some quick numbers. We've seen a huge jump from 63, a huge jump in total trips from Q1 to Q2, and that's been a total of 63.8%. So really excited about that. Our average RPD, so rides per day, has gone up by 55% as well. And overall, a 28% increase in our fleet. And that is largely due to the C1 launch that we had earlier in May and June. Next slide, please. So talking about our newest addition and our new fleet upgrade, the Spin C1 scooters. Next slide, please. They are packed with huge upgrades, and we're really excited about the overall rider experience and the overall increased operational experience that we're getting from them. We've added super bright LED lights and turn signals so that riders are more visible, especially in the evening and early mornings. This was actually very critical for us as we're moving into the fall and winter seasons, and as our days become shorter and light becomes very scarce. We want to make sure that all riders on the street are basically seen by vehicles, buses, and just overall transit. The braking system as well and the wheels have been upgraded, making it a smoother and safer ride for all riders. So we want to make sure that all riders have a great experience and are safe, right? Sometimes Baltimore streets aren't the best, so we want to make sure that our riders are always 100% safe. Something that I'm not sure if you guys have seen them, but something that our riders are really loving are the phone holders. It just makes it so much easier and safer for riders to have their phone front and center without having to navigate, right, with one hand on their phone and one hand on the steering. So we're really excited about that. And overall, it's just been an operational win with our battery system lasting longer, and it's easier for battery swaps as well. So the scooters need a little bit of less maintenance. So it's helping us keeping our fleet in better shape and overall increased our uptime. So we're really happy about that. Next slide, please. Awesome. So moving on to community engagement. Next slide. Grant was part of the Grant is part of our operations team, and he was part of the downtown Baltimore pedestrian and mobility takeover. We were really excited to get out in the streets, and the event really gave us a chance to meet riders face to face and just support the city in their overall goal of equitable mobility right across the city. So we were really excited and hope to be able to in the next second half of this peak season get out there a little bit more as well. Next slide, please. That is all I have for Spin today. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But if there aren't any, I'll shift gears over to my colleague Jared from Lime.
Yep, and yep. Next, we'll be hearing from Jared Scher, Operations Manager for Lime.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jared Scher, Operations Manager for Baltimore. A few things I wanted to highlight about Lime's tenure in Baltimore. We just passed our 1-year mark in the market this past month. And during that time, we've been able to accumulate 1.5 million rides. So very happy with the progress so far and the community's utilization. If you could go next slide, please. So for Q2 ridership, a third of those total rides for the past during our tenure here, have come from Q2 of this year with over 500,000 trips. What this shows is immense growth in our ridership. In fact, we've been able to see about a 56% increase in utilization compared to our peak of last year. You can go next slide, please. So as for the ridership per vehicle, around 400,000 of those trips are from our scooters, and then about 100,000 of those trips are from our bikes. We are, in terms of utilization, we're seeing the highest utilization in our seated scooters. So we're working with Tyler, and we're hoping to bring additional seated scooters to the market. If we can go to the next slide, please. There we go. So as some of you may have seen, this is our newest generation of e-bikes that we launched this year. It is an in-house built design. We took the lessons from deploying over 270,000 vehicles worldwide. And from those lessons, we've learned, what our riders want. So some of the key features with this new vehicle are we're able to, with the pedal assist feature, we're able to get up to 60 miles in range. And then this vehicle also has a throttle installed for our riders that would prefer to just ride rather than pedal. This vehicle does have improved geofencing capability. It does have a larger, wider basket for additional cargo storage. And then we've also upgraded our phone holder to a clamp style rather than the rubber that we have on our other generation of bikes. Another highlight of this vehicle is that the profile of the vehicle is much smaller, so it makes it easier for riders to get on the vehicle, and it also has a lower center of gravity, making the maneuverability of the vehicle much easier to do and certainly feels better. That was all we had in terms of our new vehicles. a couple of the things that I wanted to mention was one of the events that we attended that we helped out with here was the Bromo Art Walk. One of their directors reached out to us about providing vehicles for the people attending the events because they were, I believe, there were about 20 locations spread across a few block area. So that was one of the events that we attended this year, and hoping to do additional events coming this during the summer. And that was all we had. And please feel free to reach out with any questions about our new bikes. We are hoping to replace more of our older generation with these newer bikes. We actually have some on the way, so hopefully you'll be seeing more here on the streets in the next week.
Great. Thank you, Jared. And thank you, Lindsay. So looking ahead, now that we have our standard access program, now the task before us is to grow that access program by letting people know about it. So we'll make the flyer you saw in this presentation available. Anyone that would like to share it, we'd really appreciate that. We're also going to be expanding our corrals, adding new corrals, and also refreshing the paint on some of the ones that could use a refresh, as you can see in this photo. That corral needs some new marking there. Also looking to grow the e-bike fleet, given the challenges that some of our pavement gives to riders. A lot of riders do feel more comfortable, especially for longer trips, being on an e-bike. So that's something we're looking to do as a program. Also working towards better bike lane maintenance and improvements with our counterparts here at the Department of Transportation in Baltimore City. And you can hear about those things and any developments as well as program updates at our next meeting, which we're going to get back to our previous schedule of having it early in the month. So it'll be on Wednesday, October 8th at 10 a.m. So we'll look forward to presenting to you then. So at this time, if anyone has any questions that I'd like to jump in, happy to answer those. Otherwise, we can wrap this up. Let's leave it here. That's the most positive news, I think.